Mike, go ahead.
Notice of a public meeting of the City Commission of the City of Brownsville. Pursuant to Chapter 551, Title 5 of the Texas Government Code, the Texas Open Meetings Act, notice is hereby given to the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, in accordance with Article 5, Section 12 of the Charter of the said city, will convene a regular meeting on Tuesday, March 3rd, 2015, at 6 p.m. in the Commission's chambers on the second floor of the Brownsville City Hall, Old Federal Building, located at 1001 East Elizabeth Street, Brownsville, Cameron County, Texas. Regular meeting. Pledge of Allegiance. Mayor.
Stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. The invocation.
Invocation.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we ask you to bless our nation and to give wisdom and love and charity to our mayor, our city commissioners. They may act and work in accordance to justice to all, and this we ask you through the intercession of our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
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 Thank you. Thank you, Pastor. Brad?
And that was Pastor Salvador Ramirez from Christ the King Catholic Church in Southmost. So.
Thank you, Father.
Item 1, Mayor's activity update.
Activity update. Basically, I just wanted to kind of thank all of the city employees, the commission, the Charo Days, Inc., El Sombrero Fest, Mr. Amigo Association, all the people associated with the air show. Many, many thanks. I think that all the activities that we had over the last couple of weeks showed the spirit of Brownsville at its best. We had a lot of great people. Mr. Amigo, Juan Osorio was a terrific choice for Mr. Amigo. Had all the values and all the things that he said, certainly exemplified a good friend. And I want to thank all of you for participating in all the activities that you did. And I want to thank all the people who lined the parade, even in spite of the bad weather. And somebody asked me, did you get the rain on Saturday? And I said, you know what? I got it, but 2 out of 3 ain't bad. We had 2 wonderful days, Thursday and Friday and Saturday. We started off pretty good, but towards the end, it got a little bit of drizzly and stuff like that. But the police department, Santana, your group, was terrific in cleaning up. I actually got up early the next morning and, ran the streets, and it was gorgeous. So the fire department did an excellent job of making sure that any emergencies were taken care of. So all in all, it was a great effort by a great city, so thank you. Commissioners? Nope, okay. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to say that since my 4 years is coming up,
Proclamation.
hopefully not going anywhere, but I will be presenting at our next meeting an overall summary of everything that has happened within District 2. I think in the last 4 years, a lot of wonderful things have happened. We've had the splash pad at Portway Acres, and so I'm going to be putting together a presentation to showcase the wonderful, wonderful things that I feel have made a huge impact in District 2. And I want to thank all of the city staff for allowing me to just whatever I've needed. You all have always been there. So I want to thank city staff for that, and that will be next week that I will have that prepared. Thanks.
I was going to do it for you, right? The proclamations next is my Brothers Keepers Community, and that was one that's sponsored by myself and Commissioner Longoria. Would you kindly read it?
Thank you, Mayor. Nobody will be accepting? Nobody will be here accepting?
Well, the grant community that, there you go, Stephanie.
Please.
This is our grant department that did a wonderful job, so.
And I'm going to ask you, Mayor, to please excuse me. BISD open house and City Commission coincided on the same night, so sorry about
No,
it.
no,
Luckily,
no.
I don't have any students. I'm a technician, so we're good.
No, thank you for being here.
A proclamation of the City Commission of Brownsville, Texas, proclaiming the City of Brownsville as my brother's keeper's community. And whereas in September 2014, President Obama issued a challenge to cities, towns, counties, and tribes across the country to become my brother's keeper's communities. And whereas my brother's keeper's community challenge encourages communities to implement a coherent cradle to college and career strategy for improving the life outcomes of all young people to ensure that they can reach their full potential, regardless of who they are, where they come from, or the circumstances into which they are born. And whereas my Brother's Keepers Community Challenge represents a call to action for all members of our communities to enact sustainable change through policy, programs, and partnerships. And whereas the City of Brownsville accepted my Brother's Keeper Community Challenge on January 9th, 2015, and whereas the City of Brownsville hosted a local action summit on February 6, 2015, where local officials and community leaders participated in roundtable discussions and where needs, assets, and goals were identified to better serve and improve life outcomes of young people. And whereas the City of Brownsville attended my Brother's Keepers Community Challenge National Convening on February 12, 2015, which brought together representatives from communities from across the country that accepted the challenge so they could inspire and learn from each other. Now therefore, we the members of the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, by virtue of the authority vested by the Charter of said city, do hereby proclaim the City of Brownsville, Texas as a my Brother's Keepers community in our city, and urge all our citizens to embrace the President's call to action and make real progress to expand opportunity for all our youth. And this is done the third day of March 2015, and it's signed by Antonio Martinez, the Mayor of Brownsville, and the City Commission. Thank you and congratulations.
Tell them a little bit how when it's going to get implemented, so it's going to be the whole thing, okay?
Good job. Good job.
Honorable Mayor and Commissioners, thank you for accepting the President's Challenge. In addition, we'd like to thank our partners and community leaders who participated in the roundtable discussions to identify the needs, assets, and goals needed to improve the life outcomes of young people in our community. A special thank you to our speakers, Honorable Mayor Antonio Martinez, Wendy Hansen of United Way, and Lee Anderson of Strong Minds Rise Together. To date, we've completed step 2 out of 4. The next steps for us is to conduct a policy review and form recommendations and to launch a plan of action. And what I'd like to quote President Obama, that's what my President's Keeper is all about. It's helping more of our young people stay on track, providing the support they need to think more broadly about their future, building on what works, when it works, in those critical life-changing moments. So right now we're in the step 2 of this process.
Okay.
And we're going to, we've been in communication with different sectors, education sector, the nonprofit sector, and we're working on the policy review for that. So anybody that is interested, please contact our office as far as
Well,
participating.
keep us posted and best of luck, okay?
Okay.
I think you're on the right track. Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you.
Presentations, Employee of the Month. Presentation. Employee of the Month, did you hear? Yes.
In here. Mayor, members of the commission, please help me welcome our employee of the month for March. Beatriz. Beatriz is a familiar face here. She's always with us here during the commission meetings. She's been employed with the city since 2008. She started off with actually with BCIC, 4B, Shortly after that, she moved to the city secretary's office, was there since March 2009, quickly promoted. We're talking about the Charo Days, and she's one of the big assets that helps us with our luncheon. She goes beyond her job description in helping us out with a lot of the projects. Volunteerism is a key for us in relation to getting a lot of these things done. So we thank her for that. She's got tremendous customer service as needed and required at the city secretary's office, very much knowledgeable of the public information and all the requirements of that job. So we honor her with the Employee of the Month for March. And she wanted a men's watch for some reason, so here's a men's watch. Here's her plaque, and her pin. And that's it. That's all I have for you. And she has to say a few words.
I want to thank the City of Brownsville and, of course, my directors for giving me the opportunity to work with the department, and I hope to work for many more years to come.
Good luck, good luck. Thank you so much.
And of course, she's eligible for the Employee of the Year at our banquet in December. Thank you.
Thank you.
Consent agenda items A through D.
Approve.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 6, consideration and action to reappoint 3 members of the Civil Service Commission.
The Civil Service Commission is made up of 3 members. We wish to reappoint all 3. Andres Vega Jr., Maria Lidia Gonzalez, and Santiago Galarza. These people have a big responsibility in relation to having knowledge in relations with the police and fire, in making the big decisions. They've done very well. Their attendance is always there, and we wish to reappoint all 3.
Do I hear a motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Public comment?
Public comment period, yes, sir. Items number 8, consideration and action on resolution number 2015-014 to adopt the 2015 land use assumptions report.
Mayor, City Commission, this report was presented to you by probably October of last year. I think there's been a couple of presentations, and it was also presented to the Capital Improvements Advisory Committee. They have thoroughly analyzed this, and they recommend your adoption today. This also goes in, this will also affect the capital improvements plan for PUB. So this is the first step in that process. So in order for them to continue on with their planning process, this needs to be adopted by the City Commission. I'll entertain any questions. The report's about 100 pages long, so I won't click through it, but if there are any
I wouldn't
questions.
expect you to go through a 100-page document, but please, at least for the viewing audience's benefit, give them, I mean, we're up to date as to what the land assumption plan is for.
Mhm.
But the people need to know. People need to know what's coming ahead. You know, the first thing that's gonna make people worry is, okay, what about fees? What about connection fees? What about, you know,
So the land use assumption plan, it basically dictates future growth in the next 5 to 10 years and where that growth will occur within the city, from a commercial perspective, a retail perspective, and a residential perspective. That in turn will allow for PUB to adjust their plan to serve that growth in that specific part of the area. So that the second phase is the capital improvements plan at PUB, and the third phase of this would be that we revisit the impact fee at some point. And so this is the first step in that process.
I visited with Vicente Mendez this past week over the land use assumption fee, and what troubles me is the lack of the commercial community coming in because our impact fees are so high. Okay?
Mhm.
Even residential. When I built my home 10 years ago and I had to pay the fee, you know, it was, I believe at that time it was about $3,400. So you can imagine, you know, what it's costing commercial business. So I am like I told Vicente, I'm of the opinion that as we progress, there's no problem in adopting it, but as we progress, the City Commission and the PUB Board, we need to come back for a joint meeting, and we need to address once again, you know, what we're gonna do with impact fees, because existing lines should have a tap-in fee, not necessarily. That's just my opinion. But we need to see how we're being affected, because we are, in essence, being affected, and our lunch is being eaten by surrounded cities because of our impact fee.
Yeah, and this, like I said, this is just a forecast of the growth and where it's going to happen. And you know, this is the first step in that process. It's actually laid out, Chapter 395 of the Texas Local Government Code, that you have to have this before anything else.
And just, Commissioner, so you know, that joint meeting has been talked about with the PUB has been talking about trying to figure out when we can schedule it and talk about it, and even just kind of iron it out and try to give you some history of what's happened and what hasn't happened. Do I hear a motion for adoption?
Motion to approve.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Item number 9.
Consideration and action on resolution number 2015-015 to establish a Chapter 380 Economic Development Program in the City of Brownsville, providing general criteria for determining the amount of a loan or grant, providing for an application procedure, and providing an effective date.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the Commission. The Chapter 380 of the Texas Local Government Code provides the city with a powerful tool to enter into partnerships and joint ventures with private enterprise for the purpose of economic development. Okay? But one of the pre-requirements to doing that is to setting up a program. And what this resolution does, it doesn't commit the city to anything, but what it does, it sets up a program so that the City Commission can in the future be free to engage in Chapter 380 agreements. To give you an idea of the power of this kind of thing, the City of Dallas or City of Arlington, that's how they constructed the Dallas Cowboys baseball stadium. So I'm not suggesting a stadium, but I'm just giving this commission an example of the power of the agreement. Basically, this resolution sets out an application process. There would be an application to city staff setting forth certain things. It would set forth the background of the company, the operation, and the economic benefits the city would receive. It would request the proposed economic incentive, and it would set forth the benefit that the city would receive because of the applicant's expansion or relocation. Anything would be presented to the city commission for approval. If, in other words, if staff approved it and it was a good idea, it would be presented to the city commission for approval. Because we want some due diligence done on it before it's presented to the commission for approval. Okay.
Mr. Sossi, just for clarification's sake, let the record show and the people understand that if we were to enter into these kinds of agreements and the city commission does in fact agree that the citizen will have to, by the vote of the city commission, in essence contribute to this agreement, correct?
Well, it just depends what we're talking about. I mean,
Exactly.
there's tax abatements, and it really is up to the commission. It's just a tool. It's up to the commission to decide whether it's in the community's interest or whether they're asking for something which really isn't going to benefit the community. So it's a tool that the city commission would have for economic development projects.
Do I hear a motion?
I'm sure knowing no host is going to love that.
That's up.
Nothing, sir. I'll move to approve. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Sossi.
Action item 10, consideration and action on resolution number 2015-016 to authorize a Chapter 8 Economic Development Program Agreement between the City of Brownsville and University of Texas-Brownsville / University of Texas Board of Regents through the lease of city-owned property located at 615 East 11th Street in Brownsville, Texas.
Mayor, City Commission, the City Commission purchased a set of 3 buildings at Market Square. I had a presentation prepared, but something must have happened. And we renovated the buildings. We leased out part of the space to a nonprofit architecture firm, BC Workshop, and they are paying rent there. And we have a third space there, and you know, I think this is a really exciting opportunity to bring Stargate to downtown. As we all know, Stargate is partnered with SpaceX and is also partnered with UTRGV. They are currently incubated in the business incubator, but they have run out of space there. They're working in about 200 square feet. They really need more than that. They are also already working with SpaceX to fabricate something that I don't understand, some parts for rockets. So that activity would happen here. They really like the space. They want to have a community presence. They're going to invest $9 million out by Boca Chica Beach, but they also want to have a community presence. So this agreement is a two-year agreement with the option of renegotiating after 2 years. The first 2 years would be rent-free. They do not have a funding source currently. Most of their investment is going out to Boca Chica Beach, but they are very interested in being downtown, being a community partner, and being a partner to the city in the revitalization efforts. I'll entertain any questions.
And not paying rent.
I think
At
it's a
this
good
point.
investment for the downtown area. They're going to be making rocket parts.
Well, I think it's important to note as well that it's one room. It's not a suite of offices. It's
Right.
just one room.
It's about 650 square feet of space, and you know, I really think we really think the payback could be much larger. This is just planting the seed downtown for Stargate and for SpaceX.
Is this the one that we had planned for PD?
Yes. We are working on identifying other locations. We just purchased the other building behind this, so we're still working on the PD aspect. But the idea is to introduce more positive activity into downtown, bring the younger generations, and this is why we feel that this is a good idea.
And they didn't have 700 square feet at the university that they could use?
They do not, and they're important. They also want to have a community presence. They want to be able to be seen. They want their students to be seen, and to interact with the community.
And had UTB not had, if they don't have the 700 square feet or more to handle this organization, Stargate, would they not lease it from anybody if they need it? What I'm trying to get at is this. You throw UTB Stargate on it, and it looks great, and it has great community presence. Don't take me wrong. I'm not against SpaceX. I welcome SpaceX. I welcome anything that's going to contribute to SpaceX. But we're investing a lot of money into downtown projects, and it's lease, it's lend, it's give, it's invest, and yet I have to sit here for 2 years, God willing, I have to sit here for 2 more years and wait to get some sort of an offer. I've been waiting on buildings. We won't mention any names, we won't mention any buildings, but we've been waiting, we've been paid, but we had to wait for a couple of months. I find it very difficult that the university wouldn't have 700 square feet somewhere where they could be able to house this kind of a project. When we did have a proposed PD downtown station for it.
I understand that.
The police chief has requested a time for that based on personnel issues. Stargate, in what we see is an employee, is a student-based, it's not a lecture type where there's going to be instructors there. It's going to be just the students. So really, it's a Stargate request by the students that participate in the programs. So they're going to be basically there on their own working. It's not really a location where there'll be instruction or taught by an instructor or somebody from the universities there giving them instructions. It's basically the students on their own participating in programs there.
But yet it needs region approval.
Yes.
Well, I still see tremendous value in it, being that they are working with SpaceX, and they are going to be contributing a lot and bringing great presence to the downtown area. I think maybe there's a monetary compensation, but I feel like the overall weight of it should be, this is what we want for downtown Brownsville. We want these smart kids bringing these futuristic
It's
trends
going to be
to our-
participation from the students from the programs that are leasing from us and them. So they're going to co-mingle within that space. It's really open for all of them to be meeting and joining efforts and sharing information, sharing their minds. It'll be something very interesting to mark this
Just so you know, there's like 27 students that are in that Stargate project. They have their own lab at the main campus that they're leasing from TSC at the Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mechanical Building, which kind of looks like Star Wars as it is. But this one is just simply like a 2-year, they're going to build a building out there in Boca Chica, because when we were through with the SpaceX project, we assisted them in purchasing some of the properties just to get them together with the sellers and the buyers. We didn't do anything. As I've mentioned in the State of the City, the economic development to get this project said if SpaceX comes, we'll forward $500,000, and that $500,000 is now turned into about $8 to $9 million, $5 million from the university, and then another $3 million from the state. So it's a promotional deal. We'll see what the commission wishes. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Anybody?
Nay.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Item 11, consideration and action on resolution number 2015-017, opposing to Senate Bill 343 and any other stations which would erode the authority of a home rule municipality. finding compliance with the open meetings laws and providing an effective date hereof.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the Commission. This item before you tonight is for your consideration and approval is Resolution 2015-017, which opposes Senate Bill 343. If this bill were enacted, it would take away cities' inherent authority to enact reasonable local ordinances, rules, and regulations for the protection of citizens' health, safety, and property values. There you go. As the Commission recently heard a few weeks ago, when you considered possibly placing charter review amendments on the May 9th ballot, the City of Brownsville has been a home rule city for over 100 years, or since 1915. And we did this in, the citizens, not me, but the citizens did this back then according to the Texas State Constitution when it adopted its first charter. And when city voters adopted the charter 100 years ago, they gave themselves the power of self-governance. Citizens voted to regulate themselves however they choose, so long as not preempted by state or federal law. And there are approximately 350 cities in Texas. And when you consider that 75% of the state's population lives in this city, you're impacting a lot of Texans. This is bad public policy. This would undo home rule that's been established for over 100 years. It would also take away the city's inherent authority. So basically, we would go from being a home rule city to general law, meaning that we could not do anything that the state legislature would allow us to do. Let me give you some examples of current ordinances that would be impacted and might even be impacted now with the passage of SB 343. First of all, the plastic bag ordinance. This is a local ordinance that was passed that's not covered by any state or federal legislation. If SB 343 were enacted, this ordinance would have needed the approval of the state legislature. The other is in 2012, the multifamily ordinance was approved by the City Commission, and which the Commission did at that time it adopted the 2006 edition of the International Property Maintenance Code. If SB 343 were enacted, the city could only adopt this code if approved by the state legislature. Texting while driving. In 2011, the Texas governor vetoed a statewide ban on texting while driving. Recognizing the potential to save human lives, cities began to limit texting through local ordinances when the Texas legislature did not. Payday lenders, which is another ordinance that was recently passed by the Commission. When there was no statewide legislative relief for curbing payday lender practices, cities were encouraged to pass matching ordinances in order to cause a statewide standard for all payday lenders. These are just a few of the examples that would be preempted if SB 343 were enacted. To those who say that this kind of bill is needed because some local jurisdictions are overstepping their local control, we say our neighborhoods are not Dallas neighborhoods, and our citizens face different kinds of challenges that Houston neighborhoods might not face. And lastly, in instances where there is perceived overstepping, there are protections or checks and balances already in place when local ordinances are not reasonable. According to a white paper completed recently by the Texas Municipal League, there has been a history in the state when cities have enacted ordinances which have led to compromise at the state legislative level. An example is in the 1980s, a city adopted an ordinance prohibiting pit bulls in city limits in response to a number of brutal incidents. The city was sued. The Texas Supreme Court upheld the city's home rule authority to prohibit specific breeds. The following legislative session, a law was passed to stop any city from banning specific breeds. However, the law also contains language expressly authorizing cities to regulate dogs that actually are a danger, and the authority was granted because most legislators recognized the need to control dangerous animals in populated areas. This is just one example. I have been in contact with Senator Lucio's office regarding the action that we're asking the Commission to take tonight. Senator Lucio is the chairman of the Intergovernmental Relations Committee, and SB 343 will come before his committee. If this resolution is passed tonight, all state representatives, including Senator Lucio, all members of the Intergovernmental Relations Committee, and Senator Huffines, who authored this bill, will receive a copy of your resolution as the City of Brownsville's official position. And with that, I'll ask for any questions.
And that's a recommendation of the administration. Plus, I called the Texas Municipal League as to how all this thing is going to affect it, and I think that, you know, from my opinion, we need to make sure that we keep our home rule.
Keeps Texas from being Texas.
That's right, you know. Anyway.
Mayor, I move to approve, Mayor, the opposition of SB 343.
Okay. Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you so much. This is a clapping crowd. Thank you guys for being here tonight.
Second.
Commissioner, you have a motion?
On adjourn? Second.
All those in favor say aye. We are
Aye.
adjourned.